I would like to start off with telling you all something about my childhood. So, as you heard, I come from an army background. I come from two generations of Indian Army. My grandfather fought the Indo-Pak War. He was also a World War II veteran. My father has been posted in the remotest of places of India. And having said that, as a kid, I have probably traveled half the country till I was 15. I got an opportunity to live in really small towns. I got an opportunity to study in local schools and absorb the Indian values, absorb culture of really small towns. Of course, the flip side to this is I was very, very passionate about dancing, but I never got a chance to educate myself in dancing at that point. Firstly, because back in those days, there weren't so many dance schools. Secondly, I come from an army background, so we were posted at field areas. And thirdly, we probably didn't have the funds at that point. So I never thought of pursuing dance as my career, even for a second at that age. I thought I'll probably pursue it as a hobby. I probably would lock myself in the bathroom, look at myself in the mirror, and keep dancing over hours. I'd tell my mom, let me join a dance class. And yes, of course, my parents at that point had the vision. They did put me into dance institutes. I did start learning, but not really formally. So that is how dance came into my life. And I knew that some part of this is going to be with me forever. But I never thought I would be running one of the biggest and the most structured dance academies of India. But here I am to tell you more about it. Yeah? So moving on of how I stumbled onto this. I pursued my MBA. Like any of you young adults, I did my MBA. I thought I'm going to take a job. I wanted to get into the corporate world. That was something, it was a no-brainer. That was something that everybody wants to do. But to my bad luck back then and good luck now, I did not get placed with my college. I sat for almost 200 interviews. I may have sat for call center jobs. I may have sat for banks, to sell credit cards, sales, marketing, IT firms. I sat for them all thinking I have to get a job. But to my bad luck, as I said, I didn't get a job. So when the universe really plans something for you, you have to trust your instinct. All my roads at that point were closed, and the only road open was, okay, should I pursue my passion, which I've been wanting to do for so long? And my instinct said yes, and here I am, standing in front of you to talk about my journey and talk about my entrepreneurial journey. So this is how I started of dancing. I started thinking of building my dance career. I thought of starting a dance class. Now at that point, 15 years back, that's really long back, I was like, how should I do this? You know, my friends are getting jobs of 40,000 rupees a month, and I should at least make that much to prove myself because my parents have given me a green signal. I need to prove them right. So that's exactly what I thought of doing. I said, okay, I need at least 100 students to start my dance class. So to get 100 students, my friends, I probably made 2,000 phone calls. I reached out to people in my neighborhood. I reached out to people in my society. I'm sure some of you remember that too. I went to newspaper vendors and put pamphlets myself. I went to colonies and told them, please come for my dance class opening. After probably reaching out to 8,000 to 10,000 people, guess how many people came? I had only 80 people turn up. And that's the day I realized how difficult it's going to be. But to my surprise, when those 80 people turned up for my dance class, I was more than happy that all 80 of them took admission and they left. So for me, that was the biggest achievement, and that was the biggest green signal that what I'm doing is right, and this is what I got to do, and this is what I got to focus on. And that's how my dance journey started. So of course, today, as you know, Dancing Curve is a big dance community. It has 5,000 members. We have 1,500 international students, thanks to COVID. We have a proper back-end team working, social media marketers. We have digital media content creators. We have managers. We have creative heads. We have dance instructors. We're a big team of about 60 people running Dancing Curve in and around Pune. And from then to now, let me tell you how the 15 years went, okay? So before I go to that topic, I can see a lot of young adults in the crowd, and of course, slightly younger people too, and slightly older. I didn't want to say that, but okay. So I would like all of you to just show me a raise of hands. How many of you want to be an entrepreneur? How many of you want to follow your passion? How many of you don't want to do that boring 9 to 6? And how many of you want to put, and, want to be your own boss, as they call it. So come on, how many of you, just can I see a show of hands? Okay, wow, this side I see quite a few. Okay, lovely. So let me just clear your myth, friends, all of you who put up your hands. So being an entrepreneur is not definitely doing a 9 to 6, but it's doing a 24/7, okay? You're not going to be your own boss, because in the initial days, to create your first 100 students, you're requesting everyone around you, be it a vendor, be it your employees, be it your students. Why will someone want to come and pay Kirti Advani and not go somewhere else? You don't have any experience. You don't have a name. And that is the toughest part of your journey, when you're always requesting people to have faith in you, to trust you, to come in and to join you. And this is why I said you're not your own boss, at least not in the beginning. You're not working 9 to 6. You're working 24/7. So only if you're ready to take that up, you should think of starting your entrepreneurial journey. But let me tell you, I will only encourage you to do this, because it's the most beautiful journey, which I'm going to take you through, of course, in the next couple of minutes as well. So, as I said, it's almost like running a marathon. When you are an entrepreneur and you're starting off with your own project with no backing. I had no family backing. I had no artistic backing. As I told you, I studied in the smallest of schools. I even studied in a Hindi medium school for 3 years. So, having said that, I had absolutely no backing, and I had to crawl, I had to run, I had to sprint. Sometimes you're walking crippled. So your journey is about crossing the path and moving forward at all points of time, and that's what I learned. Now, talking about being crippled, when COVID hit, the dance industry and the fitness industry was hit the most. You all may have realized that we had to all shut down. So 15th March 2020, we got phone calls saying, you know what, think of another business. This business is not working. I had 50 employees to take care of, and we had so many students who looked at us with a lot of hope. Dancing Curve was one of the first few dance schools. So we were one of the first few dance schools that came live and came online when people couldn't even imagine having a meeting online. We were dancing online. So on 1st April 2020 is when we launched our online market. And thanks to that, today we're globally spread. So as I say, you have to walk through any challenge that comes to you. You're the first one to reach office. You're the last one to leave your office. You're the last one to get paid. And first one to come, first one to be rushed to the problem, first one to be blamed when there's a problem. But trust me, this journey is beautiful when you really do what you like. So everyone who put their hands up, once again, put up your hands. I hope I've motivated you enough. Yeah? So, as I said, it's difficult, but it is definitely not impossible. So, here I am telling you exactly how my 15 years have gone by. There's so much more to say, but little time. But I would like to focus on 3 points now that I'm going ahead and talking about the joy of dance. When you choose what you want to do, since I talk from passion, I'm absolutely doing a career which is passion-based and not in the books. We probably didn't even have any formal training. When you choose what you want to do, and when you choose to start your entrepreneurial journey, there are 3 important points I would love you guys to focus on. Number 1, the first and the most important point is be very good at what you do. So when 80 students of mine got converted and I got their admissions, I knew I was good at what I did. And be so excellent at what you do that there's nobody who can take your place. There should be no room for competition. Your focus should be on upgrading, staying with the trend, updating your knowledge, and always expanding your horizon. And this is exactly what I would say. Point number 1, be extremely good at what you do, and you should know what you're good at. Sometimes we're gifted with things which we need to follow our instinct and capture. Point number 2, 80% of our time goes into doing our work, at least in the initial first few years of starting off. So those first few years are so important, because 80% of your time is going into that. You have to do something you love. Like, I can proudly say, I have spent my entire 20s working and building an empire. When my friends would go out partying, or when my friends would be busy, figuring out what they want to do with life, and my colleagues were probably still thinking whether they want to work or study more, I had already started my business. I was setting up procedures, setting up systems, hiring people, trying to understand how this market would work at such a young age. So I did compromise a lot, but not even for a single day today do I feel any sort of regret. I'm only grateful because those years have been beautiful. I've sailed through those years with a smiling face, with passion in my eyes, and I'd look forward to waking up every morning. So please always, number 2, choose something that you love to do and that is not boring to you. Point number 3, last, but for me, the most special and the most important point. As we say, the joy of spreading dance. Over the years, knowingly or unknowingly, we've impacted so many lives. Dancing Curve through COVID worked through a lot of cases of depression. We got a lot of people out of some ailments during the COVID period. Over a course of 15 years, let's talk about it from the beginning. We have almost worked with 100 plus autistic kids. We have worked with special children. We've worked with special schools. We worked with the Indian Army for the Independence Day and Republic Day. We worked with distressed souls, senior citizens. 20% of our student base are cases like this. And the remaining 80% are people who are coming to learn, to stay fit, to grow. They go back with smiling faces. So for me, choosing a profession that is spreading the joy of dance, that is spreading happiness and increasing the happiness quotient in society can be the biggest job satisfaction. Hence, I'll always say, point number 3, choose a profession that can make a difference to society, indirectly or directly. Before thinking of yourself, probably think of something that's going to help you spread passion. Yes, going back in the days, that 50,000 rupees was so important for me because my friends were earning that much. But now spreading 50,000 smiles has become priority. And when you run after that, when you run after excellence, when you run after quality, when you run after spreading the good, success will automatically follow. And hence, I named my entire speech The Joy of Spreading Dance because I wanted to tell you guys that the immense satisfaction that you would get in a profession that helps you help someone else is actually unbeatable. So think about the entire 3 points that I did mention. 1 is please choose something that you love to do. Choose something that you're excellent at. And 3, choose something that will help the society and that will help you spread an art, joy, fitness, passion. And yes, of course, before I end, I would like to end on a note that, it doesn't really matter where you come from. What matters is where you want to go. It really doesn't matter what you have. It really matters what you make of it. And at the end, there are no 2 ways to hard work. There are no 2 ways to success. You have to look forward. And those compromises will mean nothing. When you look back in your 20s and when, for all the young adults sitting in this auditorium. Yeah? So on this note, I would like to end. And thank you so much for listening to me. And that's Kirti Advani signing off. Thank you.